Welcome back to Eyes Open, the show where we delve into and recreate the eyes of the movie monsters and creatures we all know and love. My name is Mark, and since it's been a hot minute since our last upload, we are finally back with new episodes of Eyes Open. And if I remember correctly, on our last episode, I think I said something like, I think we're gonna be looking at eyes from maybe some zombies or some shit. And zombies or some shit is exactly what we're getting into today. We're going to be creating the eyes from the 2007 film, 28 Weeks Later. And this comes at the perfect time since the long-awaited third film, 28 Years Later, is coming out on June 20th, 2025. Which from that quick glance looked great. And I was one of the fools who thought that was Cillian Murphy in the trailer. But I guess it was debunked already? Shit, I thought that was Oppie Boy hanging out over there. And rest assured, if there are cool looking eyeballs that are in 28 Years Later, we will be on the lookout for those. But for right now, we need to focus on 28 Weeks Later. Specifically, we're going to be creating the eyes that appear in this sequence when shit starts hitting the fan. The eyes that appear here are some deep, nasty red vibes. So we're going to start with illustrating the iris, print that out, and then start the painting process and cast that set of eyes. And later on, while we're waiting for that set to finish, we can get into horror movie sequels in general. For now though, let's go ahead and cue the music and get our eyes open on 28 Weeks Later. 5 years after the original, the studio released the follow-up 28 Weeks Later in 2007, with much more action this time around. We get right into the disease spreading, the evolution of the virus, and the need, once again, for survival. It's just that relentless, intense feeling of how can you survive this shit, all while following a character who becomes one of the infected.
Try to see, even through the madness and the rage in the character's eyes, that there's something else in there, that there's a heartbeat still to the person.
So infected, the undead, or are we calling it zombies here, or?
A lot of people call them zombies, but they're infected. But fine, call them zombies, I don't care.
Once again, the production leans into the practical makeup effects, handheld style to give it that visceral documentary style, getting close in on the action, even close enough to get some blood on that camera, and fill in the frame with loads and loads of dead bodies. The commitment of the actors portraying the infected is the key, and I feel playing a zombie has to be one of the most enjoyable roles to get the opportunity to play. So every zombie movie, you really do feel that excitement everyone has covered in blood, and just getting the chance to act like an absolute crazy person. I mean, who doesn't want to play a zombie? The production had a movement advisor, Paul Casey, that really reflects in the infected stance and overall choreography. Due to their movement background, whether it was dance, gymnastics, circus, mime, which in turn gave this horde of infected an animalistic trait that will make you shit yourself. The combination of blood effects used is great. The different types of blood, as with the dark, thick black color applied initially, and to be hosed down, and the bright red around the neck. And as always, some fresh blood when you need that nice close-up shot. Tasty. And of course, the great contacts applied to show off those eyeballs. The contact lens technician, Gemma Scott, and the whole special makeup effects and prosthetics artists involved in the film for the infected and those eyes. And speaking of those eyes, let's go ahead and move on to the painting process. And while we're waiting for those eyeballs to finish and we're all in the zombie and spooky spirit around here, I have to say, after revisiting these films to get ready for the third entry, it does bring back some spooky fears. One is going out in the deep ocean, dealing with creatures coming out to take a bite of your ass. Snakes, sharks, giant squids, the usual suspects. Then being on land and dealing with an outbreak of some infected zombies. So land or sea, apparently I'm just fucked over here. Watching Jaws and Night of the Living Dead on VHS at a very young age can leave an impression on you. Now with covering the second film here in a franchise, it got me thinking.
Arnie, I was thinking, uh-oh.
This movie's in a small category of sequels that don't resort to being called Part 2. I mean, most sequels come in hot with that number 2 next to the title. With Friday the 13th Part 2, Halloween 2, Scream 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Smile 2, Final Destination 2, Saw 2, Hostel 2, Jaws 2, Texas Chainsaw 2, Child's Play 2. I mean, shit, my eyes are bulging out here, y'all. But with 28 weeks later, it does fall into a smaller group of sequels that went with a little something different when it comes to their Part 2 titles. Some that I noticed are I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, Day and Dawn of the Dead, Aliens, Bride a Reanimator, When a Stranger Calls Back, The Collection, The Stranger's Prey at Night, which, side note, remember that chapter 1 that came out earlier this year? Jesus Christ, bro. But anyway, let's go ahead and wrap up these eyes. And there you have eyes from 28 weeks later. I also wanted to go through your guys' comments and questions that were left on our last couple of episodes. Now, granted, these are from episodes from a little while ago, but hey, we're going through and doing some cleaning around here. So looking back here, we got Planky asking, what are you using to stick the veins, the wool, to the eyeball? So for that one, you're gonna go with gloss varnish. Camera FX24, are these eyes acrylic or epoxy? For this one, it's gonna be urethane. Rajaduro6636, what type of silicone is your mold made of? Is it a platinum or a tin? For those, it's gonna be platinum silicone. Lee Morgan, what's the red paste you're using around the white of the eye? Typically like to use alcohol activated pigments. Rashad Media, what size millimeter eyes are these? And this was referring to the Bride of Chucky episode. For Tiffany, for the Bride of Chucky, it's gonna be 30 millimeter eyes, and then for the Chuckster, we go with 28 millimeter. Roger Phillips, all those in favor say aye. The ayes have it. Motion pass, son of a bitch. And finally, we definitely received several messages from you guys asking if we can do an in-depth tutorial from scratch to end, and if we can add on to the techniques when making the eyes. And the answer to that is yes. On our upcoming episodes, we'll be going through the entire process of creating eyeballs. From illustrating, printing, painting, and veining, and casting the eye, and taking care of any imperfections that may arise. In the episodes coming up, we're gonna be looking at Resident Evil, Krampus, and some surprises. But for now, once again, my name is Mark. Thank you so much for watching. Be on the lookout for our upcoming episodes, and one other thing I was gonna say. Oh yeah, and keep your eyes open.